So what is JavaScript, and what does JavaScript mean to the website? JavaScript is a programming language, okay? So it's a high-level programming language, and it's a versatile language that enables interactive web page. So what do we mean by interactive web page? So at a click of a button or a click of an element, an action can be performed. All right, it's an essential part of web applications. So when it comes to interactivity, adding basic functionality to your website, that is where JavaScript comes in. A program in JavaScript is a step-by-step sequence, all right, step-by-step approach in solving a problem. That's what a programming language is, right? So a program in JavaScript is just like that, constructed that way, all right, similar to how we give directions to a stranger. All right, so a computer needs detailed instruction, all right, step-by-step instruction. All right, so defined as steps to accomplish any simple or complex action. JavaScript was created to add life to web pages. All right, so just like HTML and CSS, JavaScript also has its extension, and JavaScript can be used to accomplish many simple operations. JavaScript is divided into two parts. We can use JavaScript for the client side, we can use JavaScript for the server side. So on the client side, which is the front end part, JavaScript can perform so many operations such as validating forms, alerting users, storing temporary data, so you can store data on your local storage, you can store data on your section storage, you can store data on your cache. All right, so there are so many use cases, right, where we can store data. All right, you can also perform calculations, be it you're creating a basic calculating device, or you're trying to get a sum of a logic. So JavaScript can perform calculations. There are some basic characteristics of JavaScript that we need to know. All right, so the first characteristics of JavaScript is that it is client-side. All right, has this client-side script. That means when it comes to the client side, it runs in the user's web browser. So your JavaScript is already pre-built in your browser, and it runs in the user browser in the client-side scripting. And JavaScript is dynamically typed, so variables are not explicitly typed. All right, so variables don't require explicit type declaration. So JavaScript automatically figures out the type of data you're working with and automatically assign those value to it. Okay, so in most programming language such as C++, such as C, Java, all right, you must declare the type of data you're working with, but it's kind of different with JavaScript. All right, it automatically figures out the type of data you're making use of at runtime. All right, so we also have the first class function. That means functions can be assigned to variables. All right, and JavaScript is also event driven. So that means based on the actions that are being executed, or based on actions that are being called by the user, all right, a set of a set of logic can be executed. Okay, so events like when a user clicks on a button, when a form is submitted, so when you're trying to receive data from your server. All right, so your block of code is run based on those set of response, those set of actions. And JavaScript is also single-threaded, all right, with asynchronous capability. That means JavaScript runs your code line by line. All right, it runs the code line by line. So it meaning it can only do one thing at a time. All right, for those programming language that are multi-threaded. All right, so how do we make use of JavaScript in our HTML document? Since JavaScript runs on the client side, that means we only need to include it in our HTML code. All right, since our HTML code runs on the web browser, right? It's automatically a web page, so we need to embed JavaScript inside our HTML code. So we have two major ways of adding JavaScript inside our HTML code. We can add it inline, we can add it internal, we can also add it externally. All right, so we have the inline, the internal method, and the external method. All right, so let's just take a look at the internal method and the external method. Okay, so